Members of Parliament, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the continuation of the Central Committee meeting handling the draft 2025 budget for St. Martin. Over the last couple of days, we have spent time starting with the explanation and elucidation to why we're here again with the budget 2025 after Parliament approved the budget 2025 in January of this year. Following that explanation and expose by the ministers of government, the members of Parliament were then able to pose questions on the topics and to the different ministries. Ministers have been returning to Parliament to respond to questions regarding their ministries. And actually, the last minister in the, for the lack of a better word, the first round is the Minister of TIAT, who is here with us this afternoon, Minister Grisha Heyliger-Marten, along with her support staff. Welcome, Minister and support staff. And the Minister is ready and prepared to respond to the questions regarding the Ministry of TIAT. Welcome, Minister, and I immediately give you the floor to respond to the questions.
Thank you, Madam Chair Lady. Good afternoon to you, and good afternoon to the Secretary General. Good afternoon to the honourable members of Parliament and to those listening and viewing online. I will start with first questions posed by MP La Cruz. Is there an update on how many of every single kind of licenses that was given out and their cost, like vendors' licenses, license amendments, all public transportation licenses, etc.? How many were given in the last year by counts? Car rentals, school buses, gaming license, all of them. The list of types is found on the website and needs to be presented to Parliament. Licenses issued are registered based on the license group type that they belong to. So the license issues are not broken down based on the list that is posted via the government's website. The count for the last year is about 916, of which business licenses and directors and cancellations were 2/3 of the total. No taxi and bus licenses were issued during this time. This table will be shared with Parliament with the references as well as a breakdown. In the last budget debate, the next question, it was spoken about issues with driving exams and the ideas. And were any of these ideas implemented? The complaints keep coming and the population and the driving instructors are extremely frustrated. Through you, Madam Chair Lady, in response to the MP's questions, I can provide the following update. It was recommended that the legacy radio-based data link be decommissioned on May 20th, 2025. A dedicated fiber optic backbone was officially brought online. This new fiber connection has fully stabilized both the internet and the exam server environment, effectively eliminating the frequent outages that previously disrupted exam delivery. The ICT department is actively monitoring network uptime in real time to quickly detect and resolve any potential issues. The department is now initiating a move to a cloud-based testing platform and digitizing manual administrative workflows. This will streamline registration, scheduling, reset reporting, and real-time support, delivering a modern, customer-oriented service. The department intends to develop an in-house appointment system for both theory and practical exams and will digitize practical test scoring and records to enhance professionalism, transparency, and oversight. These measures established a resilient technical foundation through close collaboration with ICT and our own operational team, pave the way for a fully modernized professional and transparent driving exam service. The MP heard about the nice plans to have a meeting for the Phillipsburg master plan, but the budget is 50,000 guilders, and the MP would like to know how can I execute this plan with just that amount, or was that amount just was there to put the plan together? And many buildings need to be torn down, some needs to be done, and sometimes something needs to be done even if you have the mural painted on them. So I can say to the MP that we are only in the initial phase of the Phillipsburg's much-needed transformation process. The last major beautification project happened long before, but the recent town hall meeting generated essential feedback which will influence the final plan. The execution of this long-term vision will incorporate multiple breakout projects throughout its staged implementation process. Enthusiastic stakeholders consultation indicated that public-private partnerships will play an important role to reduce costs for some initiatives. We would like to start the initial projects this year, while more costly implementation will take place. And to answer the part where it stated that the 50,000, that is mainly just to come up with the beautification plan in itself. Can we get a real update on the marketplace? Market vendors are complaining, and can we get a real outline on it? The Phillipsburg marketplace reconstruction is a top priority, and we recognize all vendors concerned, and we are currently awaiting adjustments to the architectural drawings. Once these changes reach completions, construction activities will begin. Were any cost-cutting measures put in place in the last year, along with any revenue-generating measures? The ministry did not have any cost-cutting measures last year. However, we did provide revenue-generating measures to be worked on in 2025, which will hopefully be reflected in Budget 2026. Said measures that can lead to an increase in revenues is as follows: hotel tax, timeshare tax, and ODM in compliance. Should said measures be reviewed, implemented, and adopted, it can anticipate to have additional revenues. A table with further elucidation will be provided to the Member of Parliament for further review and analysis. Next question. We always got a report from the airport for how many flights and passengers came in and from where they came from for marketing reasons. So can the minister send those reports for the same months, February, March, April, May, as above, and to see if the numbers make any sense? Yes, we can. Through you, Madam Chair Lady, we can. And as we receive it, we will be sharing this data with the Member of Parliament, and we will submit it accordingly to the Parliament as well. Next question. It was mentioned for specific resorts where 20,000 people stayed. Can we see these specifics from those? Walking around at Soul Beach, there were complaints there where they compared the event to Aruba. And the MP is asking if you can get a plan on where we are today and the pitfalls and such to do better for next year's Soul Beach, and the number we expect and the revenues that will be generated, not big stories. So the answer to that is, while preliminary figures were shared during early discussions, of which no mention of 20,000 people were mentioned, I would prefer to refrain from stating any further numbers at this time. This is to avoid any premature conclusions, unnecessary speculations, or politicized interpretations of data that is still being reviewed. The intent has always been to be transparent and engage stakeholders meaningfully. Unfortunately, some of the openness is now being taken out of context, which only distracts from the real work being done to improve our events and outcomes. That said, a comprehensive overview, including of visitor data and economic impact, feedback, and lessons learned, will be shared once the SER concludes its independent study. From there, we can provide a clear outline of where we stand today, the challenges encountered, and how we intend to improve for decision-making on the way forward. And that was the final questions posed by MP La Cruz. Next, we go on to MP Egbert Duran. First question. MP is asking, when I took office, what exactly was already in place in terms of the marketplace, market vending place? Where were the permits of reference drafted, building permits issued, a contractor selected? What remained to be done? Want to hear from the minister's perspective all the steps that were taken and needs to be taken in order to execute the whole marketplace. The dossier indicated that former administration had architectural drawings and selected a contractor. However, it is important to note that these foundational steps did not cover all necessary elements required to commence the project. The approval from the Royal Caribbean Group, who is co-financier of the project, had yet to be given their approval. Next question. The MP requests that the minister to walk through the full timeline of what happened under the minister's watch and what advanced and stalled and why. Upon submission of preliminary drawings, Royal Caribbean Group gave their feedback along with their inquiries. The Ministry of Rami, particularly the Department of New Works, requested the contractors to perform a soil test to design the marketplace with the potential to support future additional levels should it be required. Our efforts experienced various delays because of such. The soil test results showed that additional more levels would need piling, which cannot be implemented under existing circumstances. Our design team is finalizing the necessary drawings according to Royal Caribbean Group's concerns and recommendations, and we anticipate completing this revision soon so that the construction can start without delay. Minister, next question. Minister announced that this project would be a priority. Is it still the case for the minister today, and how is it being reflected in the minister's actions? Yes, it is absolutely still a priority. I want, through you, Madam Chair Lady, to begin by sincerely acknowledging the hardship and financial loss our market vendors have endured due to the delays. We fully recognize the impact this has had, not only on their businesses, but also on their families and daily livelihood, and I assured the MP that it has not gone unnoticed. While the original intention was to move forward swiftly, some unforeseen procedural requirements, including coordination with ministries, caused unavoidable delays. That said, my team is now working diligently to finalize all remaining steps so constructions can begin as soon as possible. To support the vendors during this transition, we are actively exploring temporary relief options in collaboration with the Ministry of Finance and VROMI, aimed to helping the vendors recover and stay afloat until the new marketplace is completed. In addition, we've recently launched a dedicated WhatsApp communication channel through which we will provide vendors with weekly updates, important notices, because we believe communication and transparency is key. The revitalization of the marketplace is not just a promise. It is a commitment where we follow through with, step by step, in partnership with the co-financiers and our vendors. Next question, what is the real issue holding up at this moment across which department? The Ministry of Rami is best positioned to provide a detailed explanation regarding the delays within its scope. However, it should be noted that the decision to conduct a soil test based on technical consideration resulted in unforeseen but significant delay in overall timeline. Interministerial coordination remains ongoing to ensure the project moves forward as efficiently as possible. Next question, vendors said that they would receive answers by the end of June. Can the minister clarify what is expected, what exactly they will receive, and what made the June target? As I recall, the Minister of Rami communicated to the vendors that construction will be expected to begin by the end of June. This timeline was based on internal planning and technical assessments within the ministry. Can the minister share timeline of remaining milestones, soil tests, bidding process, construction start, project completion for the marketplace? Through you, Madam Chair Lady, I will provide a high-level summary of what took place each month, or what took place in general, and do note that this timeline will also be provided in time and to Parliament in writing for their perusal. So starting in May, up to now, to date, we did initial consultations, we designed, the design was completed, project and payment schedule reviewed, groundbreaking happened, which we knew that happened in August. Then we had a groundbreaking ceremony with the groundbreaking ceremony with the vendors. A site preparation happened, and then file construction drawings finalized, and then Royal Caribbean Group comments was resolved, and then the supervision tender questions answered, and then project shed installed, and then we had a soil investigation completed, and last but not least, an update meeting with the vendors in collaboration with the Minister of Rami and myself. Next question. Since the relocation, how were the vendors feeling at first, and how do they feel now based on the minister's understanding? What has the ministry actually done to assist the vendors in the hardship to date? Not not future promises, but real ongoing support. What real solutions are being considered to assist the vendors? Right now, we know that the vendors are struggling. What can be done in here and now during the budget debate to ease some of their burdens? MP is of the opinion that accountability needs to be recognized somewhere, somehow, and there was a full plan in place. Through you, Madam Chair Lady, I would like the MP, I want to begin by acknowledging the very real frustration and hardship the vendors have endured since the relocation. And when I met with them recently, I stood before them not just as minister, but as someone who truly understands. And as MP back then, I made a promise that we would get this project off the ground. So yes, I stood there with a sense of personal accountability and humility. Long before taking office, I made it my business to stay in touch with the vendors, and I visited them, exchanged messages with them, and members of my team conducted site visits to understand their situation and begin gathering data that could inform real solutions. Since taking up this role, I've explored several avenues to ease their burden, including the possibility of waiving or reducing license fees. Unfortunately, I was advised by the Ministry of Finance and not the Minister of Finance that such a measure is not currently permissible under the present framework. That said, both cabinets, mine and that of the Minister of Finance, has committed to further discussions to explore what may still be possible in short term. We also attempted to launch the Stop and Shop initiative to stimulate foot traffic to the vendors area, but this too faced challenges related to safety, logistics, and infrastructure that required more work before it can be responsibly implemented. What I want to make clear through you, Madam Chair Lady, to the MP, is that every solution that could be considered have been considered, and I will continue to explore ways to engage with key entities such as GEBE and the Tax Department with the assistance of the Council of Ministers to find short-term relief options for these vendors, many of whom are working under very difficult circumstances. This is not just about a market. It's about livelihood. It is about dignity. And while I fully understand the frustration of the vendors, I ask that the Parliament also recognize that I too am frustrated, not because I don't care, but because I care deeply and I am fighting daily to get it right for them and the stakeholders involved. I have not taken this lightly, and neither has my team. What is needed now is a collective political will, not political posturing. The vendors deserve better than this, to be used as pawns in a debate, and I remain steadfast with the cooperation of all stakeholders, and we will bring this project to a successful conclusion. Next question. Madam Chair Lady, can I get a little silence so I can concentrate? Please. Thank you.
Members of Parliament, the sound is coming through. If you would please pay attention to that. Thank you. Minister, you may continue.
Yes. Thank you. Did the festival meet the expectation on financial return, positive exposure? MP wants to receive a clear, balanced view. Minister mentioned an initial return of 4,000 people and spent some $4,000. MP would like clarity on that and if that can be provided. Our preliminary results show very promising outcomes. Based on discussions, the festival brought in approximately 2,500 extra visitors who made positive contribution to local businesses. The current numbers should be considered provisional, according to my previous statement. As mentioned in my previous response, we have tasked the Social Economic Council to carry out an independent assessment that will provide a balanced evaluation of both the financial returns and positive exposure generated by the festival. The initial reports show promising results, which could indicate that the festival surpassed our expectations, but we must wait for validated data before reaching final conclusion. After the SAD completes its evaluation, the public will receive their full report, which details both the precise economic impact and the general positive benefits to tourism and our local economy. Next question, how were the preliminary returns calculated? How was it measured? What factual data was used? Did tax office provide returns? How was this done so quick? The preliminary returns mentioned during the press briefing were based on conservative estimates compiled from early observations and standard economic impacts. These initial figures were not presented as final, but as indicative of the positive potential the event had on the economy. The estimation was calculated using a basic formula commonly applied in tourism impact assessment. 2,500 visitors, an average stay of 5 to 6 nights, and an average spend of 1,500 per person, which includes hotels, accommodation, car rentals, taxis, restaurants, shoppings, and tours. This yields a project economic injection in millions, specifically tied to visitors related actively during the festival period. It is important to clarify that there are no official tax figures. The tax office was not the source of these numbers, nor were they involved in this early phase. These are preliminary economic impact projections used to provide a sense of scale, pending more detailed analysis. Again, to ensure full transparency and data integrity, we formally requested the Social Economic Council to carry out an independent evaluation of both the social and economic effects of the festival. Their methodology will involve a more rigorous approach using actual data from various sources, including business surveys, stakeholder feedback, and potential tax and economic performance indicators. The CERL's final report will become the official basis for future decisions and will be made publicly available once completed. Our goal is to make informed, evidence-based decisions that reflect both the opportunities and the challenges. And while these early estimates are promising, we await the comprehensive findings from the CER to validate and guide the next steps. Next question. The Maarten Tourism Bureau played a key supporting role in the execution of Soul Beach Music Festival 2025. That is indeed correct. Through you, Madam Chair Lady, STB strategically aligned its public relations and marketing efforts with the festival's international promotion, leveraging its networks in the US, Caribbean, and Canadian markets to maximize visibility and audience reach. Beyond marketing, STB provided on-ground assistance to the Soul Beach team throughout their time on the island and helping to address any questions or logistics needs that arose locally. This level of support ensured smooth coordination and allowed the visiting team to remain focused on delivering a successful event. The digital and social media exposure generated will also be captured in the ongoing economic impact study conducted by the CER. Next question. How was the festival marketed, and does the minister feel that it reached the full extent of its potential? Thank you, through you, Madam Chair Lady, MP, for that question. As someone with a background in marketing and communication, I approached this event with clear eyes and high standards. From the outset, my first discussion with Soul Beach Music Festival promoters was focused squarely on their reach. Where are they targeting? Who are they targeting? How are they targeting them? And how could we support and amplify that strategy to ensure maximum impact for St. Maarten? To be very clear, through you, Madam Chair Lady, yes, I believe the festival was effectively marketed. And no, I do not believe we left potential untapped, particularly when you consider that this was Soul Beach's first time back on the island since 1995. This historical gap alone came with both challenges and opportunities in our marketing, and our marketing had to overcome unfamiliarity while building excitement and trust. The Soul Beach Music Festival is not a local street fair or a standard music event. It is built on a destination marketing model, and its success hinges on bringing in high-spending, experience-driven travelers from outside of the island. That meant our promotional strategy had to be international, intentional, and data-informed. Marketing approach of the target audience. What did we do? The core target audience, who did they target? This was affluent African-American professionals ages 30 to 55 from U.S. cities such as Atlanta, New York, Washington, D.C., Chicago, Los Angeles, and Houston, and Miami. Individual groups seeking upscale experiences, including sororities, fraternities, couples, and corporate travelers. What kind of medium did they use? What kind of marketing media did they use? They used traditional mediums, such as radio campaigns, all on well-known radio stations in DC, Atlanta, New York, LA, and Miami, something we've never been able to tap into, I don't think, in history. Digital, social media, of course, their Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, target email campaigns, YouTube digital ads. They used marketing, they used influencers, strategic posts and appearances by well-known influencers and celebrities. Airlines, they also did marketing strategic partnerships with airlines, hotels, tourism agencies, and local sponsors. And on the ground, there were signage, branding booths, merchandise, and live content during the event. Each of these channels were chosen not by chance, but by design, to reach a high-value travel audience that spends on hotels, restaurants, transportation, and excursions at all critical drivers of economic growth for our local economy. Let me help you with one question through you, Madam Chair Lady. Did everything go perfectly? Of course not. No first-time event of this magnitude does, but the energy, the branding, the economic lift, the buzz created abroad indicated that their investment was sound. We now have the opportunity to build on this success, refine where needed, and push even further using this momentum not only to boost tourism, but to position St. Maarten as a luxury destination for premium events year-round. So yes, through you, Madam Chair Lady, I stand firmly behind the marketing plan and the results we've seen, and I remain committed to doing even more to expand our island's visibility and growth through intelligence, targeted, and strategic promotion. Next question. If we host Soul Beach again, will the ministry make it a point to include local artists and talent more prominently in the event for future reference? From the beginning through you, Madam Chair Lady, I made it a personal priority to ensure that the creative energy of St. Maarten would not be sidelined in the international event of this scale. Local DJs, musicians, performers were woven into event experience, not only at official parties, but beach events, but as part of the broader cultural atmosphere that made this edition of Soul Beach so unique. And for the first time in the history of Soul Beach, I proposed and implemented something bold, a carnival crossover during the White Party. This wasn't just a performance slot. It was a transformative cultural moment. With my full support, host G Money took the mic and announced, for the next 30 to 45 minutes, Soul Beach will be transformed into Soca Beach. In that moment, a soulful R&B music festival made space for the infectious rhythm of soca and the vibrant energy of St. Maarten Carnival. This was the first time soca was introduced at Soul Beach, and the crowd's reaction said it all. It was electric. Local carnival music, local performance, local revelers took over the venue. For the first time, international guests got a real taste of what they missed during Carnival, and many of them told us afterwards that they are now considering returning for Carnival itself. That's cultural cost promotion done right. So yes, local talent was involved and will continue to be involved more prominently, more intentionally, and more proudly, because our culture is not an afterthought, it's an asset. And as we await for the findings of the economic impact study, the ministry is already reviewing how we can further integrate local music, art, cuisine, and entrepreneurship into every layer of this event like these. That includes not only stage time for performance, but vendor space, product showcasing, culinary features, and more. This is not just about entertainment. It is about ownership of our narratives and showcasing the best of St. Maarten on our international stage. And that will remain the standard going forward, not the exception. Next question. What is the Tourism Bureau's strategy vision right now, especially regarding diversification beyond cruise ships and big events? St. Maarten's strategic vision is for tourism is centered on diversification, both in markets reach and visitor profile, as a means to build resilience to complement our efforts to expand traditional cruise traffic and large-scale events. The Tourism Bureau is repositioning its efforts in efforts to focus on value over volume by attracting stayover visitors, digital nomads, and high-intent travelers through a more targeted, data-driven marketing approach. To achieve this, we are shifting towards direct marketing strategies and social media first campaigns that allow us to speak directly to consumers in real time with content that is localized, engaging, and conversion-oriented. Social media will no longer be just a support tool. It will become a center driver to brand storytelling, destination education, and travel planning. In sum, our marketing policy is evolving to be more agile, inclusive, and performance-driven, positioning St. Maarten as a year-round multi-marketing destination known for its authenticity, connectivity, and unmatched experience, and well beyond the cruise pier. Next question. Has the Bureau done any specific satisfaction surveys on feedback sessions with hoteliers, small business owners, taxi drivers? If so, what were the results and how will we act on the feedback given? As mentioned previously, our preliminary findings were only preliminary, and we will await the independent economic impact study from the SER. Next question, can the statistics be given as to how many flights we had in May 2024 compared to May 2025 to justify the 3,000 that was so-called to the island, so-called came to the island for Soul Beach? As per your request, MP, through you, Madam Chairlady, in May 2024, we had 2,275 flights. The number of arriving flights from May 2025 has not been finalized yet by the airport. Once we have that, we will send that accordingly. I think the final question, MP said he heard of a situation of a local business person in order for Soul Beach to host their event at this particular local establishment on the Dutch side. This individual had to sign an agreement to give them 30% of their profit. We're talking about public funds being used to subsidize an event, not properly marketing according to the MP, but then we go to exploit our businesses. As it did not go their way, the event was held on the French side, according to the MP. And what is the minister's view on this situation like this? Our taxpayers' money went to Soul Beach and they tried to exploit the local business persons. So the answer to that is local DJs and music artists were indeed part of Soul Beach Music Festival 2025, and they brought great energy representation to the event. Their performances were well received, and their involvement reflects the ministry's ongoing commitment to ensure local talent. No, this is the wrong answer. I don't know. 1 minute, Madam Chairlady.
Sure, Minister.
You have to, can I come back to that? You'll find out what I kind of mixed up an answer. So next question, I'll pause and I'll get back to the question from MP Duran. Next question posed by MP Lyndon Lewis. 1 minute. What are the expected measures, outcomes of the 100,000 guilders investment in tourism product development, and how will it return on the how will the return on investment be assessed? These funds will be used for CLIA membership to develop a database network of St. Maarten's travel agency specialists and hosting of media and influencers and travel agents. So our measures, outcomes are increased in destination awareness, increased in bookings and consumer reach, and increase in arrival. What key performance indicators are in place to track the success of the campaign, like Sweet St. Maarten, Spice and Fat, and Fête de la Cuisine? The two events mentioned have not taken place for a few years, but two vital KPIs for St. Maarten's when supporting and partnering with special events organizer that brings visitors to the island is attendance and reach. So the amount of regional and international attendance and the PR social media consumer reach for the destination awareness and creating of a travel need to the destination. That's the focus. How many direct and indirect jobs are projected to create as a result of tourism events and marketing campaigns outlined in the budget? While it is difficult to quantify the exact number of direct and indirect jobs that will result from the tourism events and marketing outlined in the budget, What we can confidently state is that these events are designed to stimulate economic activities across multiple sectors. This economic stimulation helps sustain employment for those already engaged in the tourism and hospitality sectors, while also contributing to increased demand and related fields such as event support, transportation, entertainment, and small business services. It is also important to note that the interministerial efforts are actively underway to ensure that economic growth to the tourism sector translate into tangible opportunities for our people. So tourism remains our main economic pillar for the economy, and through intentional and well-executed events and campaigns. We're not only promoting St. Maarten internationally, but actively working to safeguard the livelihoods at home. Next question. How does the ministry ensure that growth in tourism contribute to long-term sustainable economic development and is not limited to seasonal consumption spikes? So to ensure that tourism growth contributes to long-term and sustainable economic development rather than short-term seasonal spikes is a top priority for this ministry. This means moving beyond traditional models of tourism, promotion, and focusing instead on integrated planning, smart governance, and inclusive economic growth. To that end, we recognize that the tourism master plan must be updated to reflect the realities and opportunities of today. This includes a renewed focus on 4 key pillars: economic diversification, resilience, destination management, and interministerial governance. The goal is to ensure that the tourism acts as a sustainable engine for broader social economic progress rather than a siloed sector with isolated benefits. So the cornerstone of this effort is the carrying capacity study, which is currently in the proposal stage. This study will provide essential data on the island's environmental, infrastructural, and human capacity to observe and benefit from tourism in a balanced way. It will serve as the evidence for the base of setting thresholds, guiding investments, development policies that prioritize quality over quantity in our visitor economy. So beyond strategic planning, the ministry is also taking account to ensure that the tourism growth translates into tangible benefits. And we are working in close collaboration with the Ministry of VSA, Education and Economic Affairs to align tourism development with workforce readiness, vocational training, entrepreneurship support, and innovation. This includes upscaling our youth, creating pathways for small business owners to plug into tourism value chain, and leveraging tourism to stimulate other sectors such as agriculture and the creative industries and tech industry. Furthermore, by embracing a sustainable tourism practice, expanding into niche markets, and promoting year-round tourism through diversified experience, such as heritage tourism, medical tourism, agro-tourism, wellness, yachting, and cultural trails, we can flatten the curve of seasonality and build a more predictable, equitable, and future-proof tourism economy. Ultimately, sustainability is not just about preserving the environment, it is also about ensuring that tourism benefits all of St. Maarten all year round. Next question. What is the expected economic impact of the Embassy Cruises campaign of 90,000 guilders, and how is the effectiveness of the cruise to stay over conversion being tracked? Through you, Madam Chair Lady, at this time I would like to kindly request clarification on this question, as neither the Tourism Bureau nor the Port has confirmed an execution of a campaign value at 90,000 guilders specifically tied to MSC. So if we could get more clarity on that, would be great, and I'll maybe answer the MP. Next question, is the budget allocation of 48,600 sufficient for meaningful and lasting revitalization of Phillipsburg area? No, this amount is not enough, and we only hope to increase this budget amount for budget 2026 once the master plan is completed. To what extent is the ministry using data from the Tourism Exit Survey, the TESS, and the Tourism Satellite Account, TSA, to inform and adjust the tourism policy? The ministry utilizes data collected by the Department of Statistics through the TESS, the Tourism Exit Survey, to support evidence-based policy making. The TESS provides key insights into visitor demographics, spending patterns, satisfaction levels, and areas for improvement. This data is regularly evaluated and used to inform strategic planning, identify gaps, adjust tourism policies to align with current trends and stakeholder needs. Although there's always room to strengthen the integration of data into policy frameworks, the ministry remains committed to working closely within its respective departments and other partners to ensure that decisions are grounded in reliable and timely information. Currently, we do not conduct a TSA. We are looking to ascertain how we can or should do this so in the near future. So the TSA will offer a broader economic view of tourism contribution to the national economy. Next question, what contingency and recovery strategies are in place to protect tourism activities in event of a natural disasters and geopolitical disruption? Through you, Madam Chair, Lady, this ministry acknowledges that safeguarding St. Maarten tourism against natural disasters and global disruption is essential to building a resilient and sustainable economy. So in the case of a natural disaster, the lead coordinating entity is the Emergency Support Function, the ESF, Emergency Support Function 10, ESF 10, which is responsible for tourism and critical infrastructures. ESF 10 plays a critical role in visitor protection, including the coordination of evacuation and repatriation efforts in collaboration with the Port of St. Maarten and the Princess Juliana International Airport and the Emergency Operating Center, the EOC. Post-disaster and the Ministry of TIAT works alongside key stakeholders to restore visitors' confidence through coordinated recovery campaigns, aligned airline and cruise line engagement, and reopening of critical tourism infrastructure. In addition to this, the established ESF protocols for natural disaster, which ensure visitor safety and coordination on evacuation and recovery, the ministry has recently introduced a new smart concept virtual concierge, accessible via Alexa, and in-room portals across vacation rentals. This innovative tools allows to push real-time alerts and emergency notification directly to tourists during the natural event, provide instant updates and recovery efforts, reopening timelines and practical information, visitor information, and reinforce trust and communication, key to bringing tourists back once conditions stabilize. So regarding now the geopolitical risk, the question posed by the MP, we continue to pursue broader market diversification to avoid reliance on any one travel source, strengthen sectors like agriculture, entrepreneurship to support local livelihood, and ongoing monitoring of international developments, especially in the North, where we monitor the North America, coupled with any regulatory oversights, price monitoring, and competition safeguards to maintain stability. So together, these measures and comprehensive emergency communication, technology information, economic agility, and regulatory readiness ensure that St. Maarten remains resilient and responsive in face of both natural and global disruption. Next question. How is the ministry working with the airlines to extend tourist length of stay over on the island? Tourist length of stay on the island. The ministry continues to work closely with airline partners to strengthen airlift in a way that supports a longer visit stay and year-round tourism. Our strategy includes negotiating sustainable flight schedule, particularly during the off-peak months, to encourage extended vacation and fill seasonal gaps in hotels. A key tactic is promoting niche tourism segments such as MICE, the meetings, incentives, conferences, and exhibitions, wellness retreats, and cultural festivals and culinary tourism. These segments naturally attract visitors who stay longer and spend more and are less dependent on seasonal pricing. While promoting travel during the hurricane season does come with challenges, building trust through consistent airlift, stable destination branding, and transparent safety protocols helps mitigate those concerns for both airlines and visitors. Importantly, our efforts are not conducted in isolation. The Ministry of TIAT collaborates with PGIA, the Port, French St. Maarten, and industry stakeholders to represent a unified destination proposition when engaging with carriers. Airlines want assurance that the destination is aligned politically, economically, and operationally, and there is a clear demand support by reliable data. So further, our use of digital tools in travel trends analysis allows us to back up route developments proposal with meaningful metrics in length of stay, spend per visitors, and emerging source markets. Ultimately, when we show up with a comprehensive plan, strong public-private collaboration, and a regional approach to tourism, we are in far better position to secure routes that are not only viable for carriers, but also deliver a long-term economic value for St. Maarten. Next question. What efforts are being made to promote tourism in lesser-known areas of St. Maarten to reduce congestion and promote equitable economic benefits? Thank you, MP, through you, Madam Chair Lady, for that important question. Every destination has a high traffic zone that draws visitors more easily, whether due to convenience, visibility, amenities, or established word of mouth. In St. Maarten, we recognize that while their areas contributed greatly to the visitor economy, there are also great congestion, uneven economic benefits, and strain on local infrastructure, especially during peak season. The ministry's approach acknowledged a key reality. We cannot simply instruct visitors to explore lesser-known areas. We must give them compelling reasons to go there. That means creating environments and experiences that are attractive, accessible, and marketable and safe. To that end, we're pushing multi-pronged strategies. So district enhancement, beautification, economic zoning and infrastructure support, community-driven experience development, smart marketing partnership with the OTAs, like Expedia and TripAdvisor. This strategy isn't just tourism dispersal, it's also, it's about, sorry. This strategy isn't about tourism dispersal, it's about economic inclusion. By helping more communities participate meaningfully in visitor economy, we can ensure tourism benefits are felt across the entire island, not just in high traffic corridors. Ultimately, the goal is more balanced, resilient, and equitable tourism product, and an equitable tourism product, one that showcases the fully diversity of St. Maarten's people, culture, and charm. Next question posed by MP. Lewis. Are there targeted marketing plans for returning visitors and repeat tourism using personalized content? Thank you. I don't know if I could do this and talk, but I'll try. Let me repeat the question. Are there targeted marketing plans for returning visitors and repeat tourism using personalized content or loyal campaigns? Through you, Madam Chair Lady. Yes, MP, there are targeted marketing efforts in place to engage them. Personalized contacts, email retargeting, loyalty perks, and tailored efforts are all part of the strategy to deepen brand affinity and encourage repeat stays. So these initiatives are being developed in collaboration with the airport, airline partners, hotels, and booking platforms using data-driven insights to speak directly to past visitors based on their travel and behavior preferences. So several of these loyalty focus, Several of these loyalty-focused concepts will be formally rolled out and highlighted in the upcoming 2026-2027 budget cycle as part of a broader digital marketing transformation and customer retention strategy. Next question posed by MP Omar Otley. The marketplace, it was already set to go during the MP's tenure and as minister, and every day they are mentioned how they are suffering, what is the holdup. It is understood that there's a problem with VROMI and the holdup, and then the minister wants to know what's the process needs to get going as soon as possible for the people. Through you, Madam Chair, Lady, I share the MP's concern and the project paused while VROMI's technical team completed the soil and structural studies required for more possible revised multi-story design based on their recommendation to maximize usage space of government-owned properties. I didn't read that correctly. Maybe I should read it again. Sorry. So the project paused while VROMI's technical team completed the soil and structural studies required for a possible revised multi-story design based on their recommendation to maximize the usable space of government-owned properties. Now that it has been determined that this is not feasible, the necessary adjustments are being finalized, and my ministry is working with both VROMI and so the construction can begin as soon as possible. Questions posed by MP Darrell York. The MP requests the drawings of the first and second designs. The drawings will be shared with Parliament accordingly. Yeah. Via the Minister of VROMI, the drawings will be shared. Who was in the evaluation committee? What was their findings in writing? The evaluation committee consisted of 3 civil servants, the senior policy advisor from the Staff Bureau, TIAT, the senior officer for the economic license, TIAT, and the project manager for new projects for VROMI. The committee concluded their work with a written report outlining their findings. Next question. Email communication between Royal Caribbean and the ministry. Did Royal Caribbean approve the initial design? What was their feedback? Based on the initial communication with the Royal Caribbean Group, a list of pending documents was provided for further handling, which indicates that they had not yet given approval for the project's commencement. Next question, was VROMI included in the term of reference for the new design? Was there a term of reference for the new design? No term of reference was formally established. Did VROMI contribute to the deliverables that were placed in the term of reference? No, they did not, as no term of reference was established. Which budget post was used for the new design? The budget post used for this project was capital expenses budget, post 1108-8240, tourism product development. Was there a tender for the new design? No, there was no tender for the new design, as the total cost did not supersede 50,000 guilders. How much did the new design cost? The answer was below 50,000 guilders. Who paid for the structural calculations to be done? The contractor paid for the structural calculation. Who paid for the soil test? The contractor paid for the soil test. How much did the soil test cost? The soil test cost approximately 25,000 guilders. Who's paying for the vendors for damages of lost businesses? As mentioned previously, Cabinet and the Ministry of Finance and TIAT will continue to explore possibility to further express by the vendors. Next question, the MP requested billing permit of the initial design. Again, this will be provided to the MP via the Minister of the VROMI, along with the drawings. Next question, as of today, June the 9th, the Minister of TIAT is in possession of the billing. Is the Minister of TIAT in possession of the billing permit for the new design? No, we are not. We do not. Next question, Soul Beach. MP requests the report on the passengers' arrival for the months of April, May, June for the years 2016, 2023, 2024, and 2025. Some of the stayover tourism during those same time periods. So the arrival figures for April and May 2025 has not been finalized, as mentioned earlier, and these are the figures for the stayover cruise for April to June 2016, 2023, 2024. Oh, okay, so stayover arrivals, April 2016 is 50,441. May 2016, 2,209. June 2016, 36,435. And then April 2023, 36,086. May 2023, 27,789. June 2023, 26,776. April 2026, 35,400. April 2024, 35,410. May 2024, 29,181. June 2024, 27,479. Total cruise arrivals for April 2016, and this is the year 2016, April 126,669. May 81,747. June 76,985. And then we have
Minister,
20.
with your indulgence, because I too was going to suggest something about those listings, but I see that MP Yorkie wanted to make a comment. Is it regarding, what is it regarding? Let me put it that way.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I think it's regarding the same thing you were going to mention as it pertains to the arrivals and the stayovers, especially for cruise and airport. I don't mind getting that in right.
Yeah. Minister, if you could just send us those listings, especially the numbers that you're mentioning, okay. And then you just continue with the answers.
Thank you.
Thank you, MP York. Thank you, Minister. You may continue.
And this, the rest is also, this is what was the amount sponsored, this one I can do. What was the amount sponsored to regatta in 2023, 2024, 2025? Same for Carnival, same for, for Kwalichi Festival. Carnival 2023 was 40,500. 2024, 200,000. 2025, 600,000. Heineken Regatta 2023, 150,000. 2024, 159,000. 2025, 150,000 guilders. Kwalichi 2023, 180,000. 2024, 0. How many visitors did Kwalichi Festival have in 2023 and 2024? The Tourism Exit Survey takes place 4 times a year based on the available budget for March, June, September, and December. Only through mediums such as Tourism Exit Survey will we be able to know if visitors came specifically for Kwalichi, for the Kwalichi Festival. The promoter has submitted a report. However, said numbers has not been verified. Next question, how much was sponsored to the Maarten Festival in 2023, 2024, 2025, and what were the numbers of visitors in 2023 and 2024? 2023 was 180,000, 2024 was 180,000, 2025 was 90,000, and again, I can't give a specific amount of how much came in because we did not have the exit survey done at that time, to be clear. Have all contractors that worked with our 4 Soul Beach been paid? The ministry supplied financial support for the festival, but did not handle contracts with local suppliers and service providers. As customary, the event organizers managed all contractual arrangements with their vendors. Next question, has there been a commitment given by Soul Beach to the government on Soul Beach returning next year? Answer, no formal request has been received and no commitment has been given to the government by the government for the next year. The event promoters has expressed great enthusiasm for the repeat for repeating the event based on feedback from attendees and social media sentiments has been overwhelming and positive. We are awaiting the SAD report to conclude their report, which will assess the full social and economic impact before finalizing our full future strategy. Next question. Carnival economic stats. How many people came to the island for Carnival, and what was the amount in 2023, 2024, 2025, and how much did the average tourism spent for Carnival during those years? The tourism exit survey again takes place, I think I repeated that already, and only the two mediums like this can be really tell and be specific and get specific details. A Carnival edition of the test was last done in 2017, but I think it's even earlier than that. I need to clarify that. I think even earlier than that. The average expense at the time was $141.55 per person. We are currently working with SCDF to establish a partnership agreement, and as we work towards finalizing this draft agreement, we are actively discussing methods to jointly market Carnival to reach a larger international audience. Next question. How do we quantify the merit and investment and economic gain of Carnival? A multi-dimensional analysis that extends to more than simple financial measurements must be conducted to actually determine Carnival's merit and economic benefits, considering that although Carnival attracts visitors, it is predominantly attended by residents. Therefore, the evaluation of Carnival's economic contribution needs to measure local spending on food, beverages, and retail, etc., while also considering how this spending stimulates the wider economy. So demographic factors, including both population spending capacity and visitor participation along a long-term value of Carnival, require an examination of qualitative benefits like cultural identity and reinforcement and its effects on strengthening community pride. On the contrast, events such as Soul Beach targeting international visitors required evaluation through a specific economic indicator like higher hotel occupancy rates and longer visitors' stays, which directly reflects revenues generating from the room tax, turnover tax, wage tax, etc. Next question. Has the government regulated food storage with various food suppliers on the island, and what is the cost for such? No formal regulation of food storage has been implemented at this time. However, the government continued to proactive communication channels with major wholesalers to ensure coordination in event of disasters. These stakeholders have been informed of the government's expectations and their mutual understanding that in times of crisis, priority will be given to government needs to support the wider population and as such, while there is no cost associated with regulated storage, the groundwork has been laid to ensure rapid and preferential access to food supplies during emergencies. Next question. Will there be a control team put in place to prevent price gouging? Madam Chair Lady, I share MP York's concern that residents and businesses must never be left vulnerable to sudden price spikes. That is why under the hurricane season price control framework, I'll just wait for a little silence, and then I'll continue.
Members, again, the sound comes across louder than you might think. Minister, you may proceed when you're ready.
While will there be control team put in place to prevent price gouging? So I mentioned earlier that is why under the hurricane season price control framework, the Inspectorate of TIAD will keep a steady watch on the cost of essentials of fuel, water, food, and building supplies. During these months, controllers will conduct routine visits to wholesalers and retailers to verify that price remain within the prescribed maximums. Moreover, the moment a tropical storm or hurricane is forecasted to arrive within 72 hours, the Inspector Department will switch into an enhanced enforcement mode, carrying out daily target inspections of the most critical items. After the storm has passed, heightened security will continue until supply chains and consumer demands have fully stabilized, at which point we will seamlessly return to our regular monitoring schedule. This two-tiered approach directly ensures fair, predictable pricing all season long and delivers rapid escalation of oversight pricing when our community needs it most. For complaints or concern, consumers can send email to ieta@stmartingov.org. That's ieta@stmartingov.org. And in the subject, type price violation. Include as many products details as possible and copy of the receipts of invoice if available. Next question. For the CAPEX, is there mention of a beautification project for Phillipsburg? Recently, the minister held a town hall on the matter. The MP understand that bricks are being evaluated and whether to keep them or to replace them as asphalt. Does this fall under the beautification for the Ministry of TIAT, or does this specific part fall under the Ministry of ROMI? Who will be paying, seeing that the minister did say that the drainage will be tackled, and I didn't see anything of sort, according to the MP, as it pertains to ROMI in the budget. So if this falls under ROMI, where can this be found? The answer to that question, through you, Madam Chairlady, the vision of the Ministry of TIAT is to revitalize and enhance the overall experience and appeal of the capital. The recent town hall meeting held served an important platform to engage residents, business owners, and other stakeholders. The objective was to gather input that would help shape the final master plan for the area. During the meeting, several suggestions were made by participants, ranging from infrastructural improvement to aesthetic enhancement. However, it is important to note that these suggestions were not formal decisions or commitments, but rather insights for further exploration. The finalization of the master plan is necessary before any concrete implementation steps can be outlined or costed. With respect to the specific matter of replacing the existing bricks with the asphalt and addressing the drainage system, this component falls under the technical domain of the Ministry of ROMI, and in recognition of this, the Ministry of TIAT ensure that the respective representative from the ministry was also present during the town hall meeting to ensure the concerns directly and provide guidance on the infrastructure aspect raised. So the successful execution of this beautification project is inherently interministerial. While TIAT is leading the engagement and conceptual development phase, collaboration with VROMI will be essential to execute the technical and civil engineering aspect of the project. Accordingly, this initiative will require joint planning, budgeting, and implementation efforts between both ministries. As for the financial implication, given that discussions are still ongoing and the master plan is not yet finalized, the associated infrastructural work, such as draining, are not currently reflected in the 2025 budget. It is anticipated that once the master plan is completed and thoroughly assessed, actionable items required VROMI's involvement while hopefully considering the budget cycle for 2026 and beyond. Next question. A beautification project was mentioned for town, but nothing was mentioned about the monuments in town. 60% of the monuments listed can be located in Phillipsburg area, and nothing of the sort was mentioned in the presentation of the Phillipsburg beautification project. What role does the monument play in the Phillipsburg beautification project? Through you, Madam Chairlady, thank you, MP, for the observation. The role of our monuments is indeed important, and their preservations will be considered as part of the broader beautification efforts. Protecting our cultural heritage remain a key priority, and as the master plan continues to evolve, monument enhancement will become an essential element within our complete revitalization strategy despite the final design remaining under development. Final question posed by MP York. The Clemla Baker Square is slated to be funded and getting a facelift by Windward Island Bank, seeing that there is still no plans for the location of the old government. The Clemla Baker Square goes hand in hand with that and it pertains to the master plan. What is the plan for the location where the old government building reside, and how does that correlate with the construction and revitalization ideas for the Clemla Baker Square? During the town hall session, the designer indicated strong community interest in potential public-private partnership for enhancing areas such as the Clemla Baker Square. However, it is important to note that the beautification master plan is just that, a plan. The execution of any enhancement will be carefully aligned with the overall vision of the area, ensuring that both the square and old government building will be developed in harmony. Next, we have a question posed by MP Artwell Arian. Can we get a total amount of consultants per cabinet and ministers and the budget post amounts per? Also the total value of those contracts. Currently, we have one external consultant for a total of 23,779 guilders. Can the minister provide a total travel expense of the last 6 months per minister and per cabinet, both items? Did any go sorry. Did any go over budget? If so, what amendments were made to supplement them? If amendments were made to supplement these travels, which line items were used and which departments were affected? A total of 54,878 was spent to travel for the minister, with a total of 4,878 being covered under the budget post 80-43499, general. This is all guilders, yes. General goods and services, and a total of 43,763 guilders for the cabinet. Next questions posed by MP Janssen, Veronica Janssen Webster. Permits, does the minister see these generated in revenues? Why is that? Is that because of the backlog or the cancellation? Thank you for that question, MP. The Ministry of TIAT does not oversee or manage the revenue collected from licenses issues. The information falls under the responsibility of the Ministry of Finance and can be requested through the appropriate channels. That said, though, we acknowledge the challenges that have existed within the license process, including backlogs that may have contributed to delays, and the department is working diligently to address these issues. Our focus remains on improving the system to make it a more transparent, efficient, and accessible for the business community. And in the coming month, the ministry will share an update on the concrete steps being taken to streamline and process and improve service delivery. Next question posed by MP Roseberg. Soul Beach. The MP wanted to receive clarity regarding the monies used and what was the amount used and from which budget post it was used. The international artists and their costs, and what was the price connected with these artists, and after the after party on the French side, why was it organized on the French side, and can the ministry provide full detailed numbers and the cost total? So MP, through you, Madam Chair Lady, we cannot provide a complete response to this question at this point. We will await the respective reports from the promoters. What I can say, I have said before, and that's during the press briefing, that the promoters stated that at least $525,000 was spent locally. In regards to the event on the French side, it was made mention that said entities were the ones that the promoters. It was mentioned that said entities were the ones that the promoters could come to an agreement with, and given the time frame and their required needs. So mention has been made of other businesses on the Dutch side and that expressed willingness to work with the promoter and should should the event return in 2026. Did we find an answer? Bear with me 1 minute, Madam Chair Lady.
Minister?
Yes, found it. Yes.
Minister?
I wanted to go back. Sorry.
What I'll do now, I'll take a pending break and allow you not only to catch yourself in the answering, but also to look up whatever other question. Just a brief break.
I just have your questions, and then I wanted to go back to MP Duran's question.
Oh,
and I'm
okay.
done.
So you're that
Yeah,
far
I'm
in
far.
your presentation.
Yep.
Okay, good. No, then let's
Yes.
finish that. Let's allow you to finish
And
the
where's mine?
answers, then, Minister. You need a minute to
Yes, I'm
caucus
good.
on that, or you?
No, I
okay.
wanted to go back because
Minister.
through you, Madam Chair Lady, the question from MP Rosebrook prompted me to go back to the one from MP Duran, where he stated that the individual, that the promoter asked for 30% of their profit and was talking about being funds being used to subsidize not properly marketed, but that he stated that the business owner was exploited. So I wanted to answer, and I think it will clarify also the one for MP Roseburg, that I appreciate the concern and the opportunity to clarify this. Let me begin by stating clearly that the ministry does not participate in or influence private contractual agreements between event promoters and local businesses. These agreements are negotiated independently, and government funds are not tied to, nor do they condition or have any such agreements. So in the business world, revenue sharing models are not uncommon, particularly large-scale events which both parties seek to benefit from increased exposure and economic activity. However, when expectations on other sides do not align, whether due to financial terms or operational requirements, these negotiations can fall through. That is not exploitation. It is unfortunately the reality. It is unfortunate. It is unfortunate reality of business dealing where both parties must agree in order to move forward. To characterize such situation as extortion is a serious assertion, and to our knowledge, no formal complaint or evidence have been presented to support such a claim. That said, the ministry remains committed to fostering fair and transparent practices within the tourism and event landscape. We recognize that for events of this scale to succeed and have the intended economic impact, mutual respect and cooperation between organizers and local stakeholders are essential. We continue to engage with partners and stakeholders to ensure that all these businesses, large and small, feel empowered to participate in the opportunities on terms that are fair, responsible, and ultimately beneficial. So speaking from a, so the events that occurred on the Friends side were between the businesses and the promoter itself. The promoter, how it works in this industry, the promoter, they bring the talent, they bring the people, and of course you have negotiations when you do this, when you have host events at a specific place. Next, last questions posed by MP Westcott Williams. MP requested to provide an update on answers given to herself and her faction members in the answers of the CC for first budget 2025. Several of those answers refer to things being updated and reports being expected. So MP wants to know where are we right now as per the answers given to the CC questions, the CC, and if there are several sorts of commitments made to questions asked in the first debate budget of 2025. So through you, well, for you, Chair Lady, in regards to the questions posed and answers during the CC, the first budget 2025, as reviewed in the attached document, I can confirm the following. Was the gambling legislation finalized? No, not yet, but will be completed in 2025. Has the business case of the gambling authority started and by whom? Yes, it has started and is ongoing, and it is conducted by an entity named GLI. Any progress and announcement agreement with SCDF going forward? Within a week, Carnival being over, we sat down with the representatives of SCDF to discuss the festival and its activity. And this year, the activities this year alongside the agreement, and we are currently in further discussion on the draft agreement. Then provide updates on initiatives such as establishments of the Maarten Tourism Authority and the development of the Tourism Master Plan and carrying capacity. We are currently in the stages where an advice is being circulated to allow for the foundation to draft the legislation for the ZBO and develop a new tourism master plan. And then the ministry is also diligently working on plans to express above. More details on the respective reports plans will be forthcoming. Carrying capacity study, I mentioned earlier that we now are waiting on the proposal for that. And yes, I think I covered the three things that MP wanted. If not, MP will let me know. And then last question from the MP. MP requests an update in some cases to answer to where matters stand with motions approved during the handling of the budget in the first instance. So the motion pertains to the following: the Met Civil Aviation. So as it relates to the motion regarding the Met Civil Aviation building, we are currently processing the acquisition of the necessary land rights through the notary. And you know, sometimes with the notary, it takes some time. And the drawing for the new building are being gathered and will soon be submitted to the relevant authorities for assessment, which will enable us to begin the process of evaluating the overall project costs to determine if any surplus will remain. With regards to the ambassador program, the STB conducted meetings to discuss the plan of approach for the ambassador program, as well as the opportunities to enhance our sports tourism. And there's one more. Then MP requests if there's any update to be given on the issue of signage. Who is responsible? Who gives the permit? Is it just the regular TIAD permit, which when it comes to the area outside of the airport fence, is that the airport's responsibility to decide which and how signage can go? Okay, so the responsibility of issuing permits for sign resorts under the Ministry of Justice, specifically if I'm not mistaken, KPSM, and the legal basis is APK, Algemeen Politie Keur. STB is in collaboration with the Department of ROMI, is working on a broader directional signage project. But in essence, too, Madam Chair Lady, it is something that the Ministry of ROMI and the Ministry of Justice and we would have to sit down and discuss further how we go about putting up signages all over the, just like that. Because you made mention on the questions with the signage across the airport, that's on private property too. So that's that is something we need to, I think, maybe sit down together and
Minister,
have
just an explanation there. I meant on the side of the airport, outside of the fence of the airport, those signs and...
Opposite?
No, not opposite, outside of the fence.
Oh, it's still Apika. Then that's still up, that goes with...
Those are the ones I'm referring to as recent ones are going up there.
Okay. Okay.
Thank Minister.
That's it.
And that was it. Minister, thank you for those answers provided. Before going over to offering members of Parliament the opportunity to ask any clarity on answers given, I am going to adjourn until 10 minutes past 6. Come back to see which members would want to make use of the opportunity to ask anything additional or for anything to be clarified. And then based on that listing, I'll decide where the supper break will come into play. So for right now, I am going to adjourn until 10 minutes past 6. Thank you, Minister. Thank you, members of Parliament. Meeting adjourned. Members of Parliament, ladies and gentlemen, good evening. And we are still in our Central Committee meeting handling the draft budget 2025. In our presence at this moment, responding to questions by members of Parliament is the Minister of TIAT, Minister Grisha Heyliger-Marten, who has provided her answers to questions asked regarding the ministry. And now we have the opportunity for members of Parliament who wish a follow-up, who wish to ask for something to be clarified or pose a question that they might have overlooked in first instance. The first member of parliament to address the minister is MP Labega. MP Labega, you have the floor.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Good evening to the Kathir, fellow colleagues, everybody home that's listening. First of all, I'd like to congratulate the minister on the graduation of her son, who graduated from college. I know that's a proud moment for everyone in the family. That being said, I also like you for making the time to make sure you are back here to answer the questions, which also shows that your dedication to answering the questions in person and being accountable to the people of St. Maarten. To you, Madam Chair, the minister made mention of the Soul Beach situation, and she found that it was sufficiently marketed. But I know that it was only about 5 or 6 months that we actually had, if I'm not mistaken, 5 months to market the event on such a grand scale. My question is to you, Madam Chair, given the opportunity to have a full year, how do you see those projections if we had a full year without disturbance to market an event like that? What do you see that event coming up to? Also, through you, Madam Chair, I would also like to see the plans for the Clem Labega Square. Thank you, Mr. York, MP York, for asking that question. So I would like to also see the beautification of what we have planned for the Clem Labega Square. And I will make sure I run those answers, those visuals by him first to make sure that he approves. That will be all for now, Madam Chair. Thank you.
Thank you, MP Labega. The next MP up to speak is MP Otley. MP Otley, you have the floor.
Good evening, Madam Chair. Good evening to the Honorable Minister of TEAT. It's a delight to have you in the building. I know you came straight off a flight, and that is what you call dedication. So, Madam Chair, through you, the Minister of TEAT stated pertaining to the marketplace, you're waiting on the building permit. Because I asked specifically, what is the holdup? Is it something pertaining to Vromi? I didn't get a clear indication or clear answer. And Madam Chair, you know, the Minister of TEAT is trying to be a team player and doesn't want to throw anyone under the bus. But if you don't throw anyone under the bus, then you have to take the responsibility of the actions that is happening. And what it looks like, the Minister of TEAT came into office, caught steam, was moving, and all of a sudden it's halt. And it looks like the Minister of TEAT is playing with the emotions of the people at the marketplace with a groundbreaking where everyone was there smiling. And for months and months and months we are asking. And Budget Amendment 2024, the Minister of TEAT told me, within 2 weeks, work will commence. And then we asked again, and the Minister of TEAT told me through you, Madam Chair, within a couple of weeks, work will commence, and work is not commencing. And I feel like as a member of parliament, I'm not getting a clear answer, because when I have to hear members calling in radio station and this one blaming this one, I feel like, where are we going? We're playing tag with it. And I said yesterday, Minister of TEAT, and I used a quote from someone that says, stand with your team and not against it. And I said to you, Minister of TEAT, your team, no one seems to be standing with, especially when it relates to Soul Beach, through you, Madam Chair. And I asked the question, if it was full, would everyone wash their hands with it? But I see that you are confident. You have stated today that you are proud of what you accomplished through Soul Beach, what St. Maarten accomplished through Soul Beach. And I state that my question with Soul Beach is this: while not against any aspect of it, the funds, I am getting the impression that something was not done right as it pertains to funds. The Minister of TEAT does not pay. So you can write the advice through you, Madam Chair, your staff can write the advice. At the end of the day, the financial persons have to agree or disagree. So my question is, was the advice approved unanimously in COM? And was the advice required to be signed by the Minister of Finance? And through you, Madam Chair, I remember once the Minister of TEAT was actually willing to present to us the Yezetinwe report on such. And then when I spoke to the Minister of Finance once about requesting Yezetinwe, it was said that it cannot be sent. So I'm not going to ask the Finance, I'm going to ask you, Madam, through you, Madam Chair, Minister of TEAT, can you then present to us the Yezetinwe report on the advice for Soul Beach? Let's nip this in the bud. And also I would like, just my only other thing is back to my first point, clarification and clarity on what exactly is the problem with the marketplace as it relates to the Ministry of Vromi. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you, MP Otley. The next MP to address this matter is MP Irian. MP Irian, you have the floor.
Good evening, Madam Chair. Good evening, all. Good evening to the Honourable Minister of TEAT. Madam Chair, through you, just a very simple question, because the Minister of Finance mentioned that the Minister of TEAT will be answering the questions, and I don't really want to be playing hot potato, and I think it's very unfair to be wasting my time to be able to repeating these things again. So my question is, will the Minister of TEAT be answering the questions that were posed? The Minister of Finance, for example, answered questions based from the Prime Minister. She answered questions from other ministers when she got them. She made it clear that these questions will be answered by Minister of TEAT, and my questions were left over, and she made it clear she's not answering it. The Minister of TEAT has to answer. So just clarity.
Thank you, MP Irian. The next speaker is MP Lacruz. MP Lacruz, you have the floor.
A blessed evening, Madam Chair Lady, and a blessed evening to the Honourable Minister of TEAT and her support staff. Madam Chair Lady, through you to the Minister, I was somewhat confused when the Minister mentioned that no numbers can be given concerning taxes, because we got numbers yesterday from the Minister of Finance when it relates to room tax. So I don't know if the Minister received those numbers also. And then the Minister also made mention of Royal Caribbean not approving a design. So I'd like, through you, Madam Chair Lady, if the Minister could provide that correspondence, because while being there, that was never the case. The design was even left up to the government, not Royal Caribbean. So if the Minister could also provide that, I would highly appreciate it. Maybe it's something I missed. Then, yes, that'll be it for now, Madam Chair Lady. Thank you.
Thank you, MP Lacruz. The next MP up to speak is MP Lewis. MP Lewis, you have the floor.
Through you, Madam Chair, in response to the Minister of Tourism's requesting for clarification on my question regarding the MSC Cruises campaign, specifically in the allocation that's on the page 77, where it states the 90,000 was raised based on a review of 2024 national budget, particularly under the section related to tourism product development. The code number is 8240. And the marketing projects where this initiative was explicitly mentioned. The campaign aims to support a cruise to stay conversation strategy in collaboration with MSC Cruises, encouraging passengers to extend their stay on the island either before or after their cruise. As a member of Parliament, my inquiry was motivated by the need to understand the anticipated economic return on this investment, given campaign's objective to increase overnight stays and spending by cruise visitors additionally. I sought clarification on how the success and impact of this initiative are being measured and tracked, especially in the terms of actual conversion rate, visitors' expenditure and long-term benefits to the local economy. That will be all for me, Madam Chair.
Thank you, MP Lewis. I now see MP Doran is requesting the floor. MP Doran, you have the floor.
Thank you, Madam Chair Lady. Thank you to the Minister for the responses provided. I do, however, have a few clarifications. Minister, through you, Madam Chair, with regards to the whole process with the marketplace, I remember stating in here, if the design changed, that means a whole new bidding process needs to take place. I heard mention of potential piles having to come into the construction equation. So therefore, the design is 100% change, and it will require a whole new bidding process. I think that it is high time that we just become a bit more transparent and you give a realistic timeline as to how we can move forward, because I think that contrary to what you mentioned, Minister, through you, Madam Chair, is not politics being played. I think that we are dealing with real-life people now, and I think they deserve some clarity. So please, if that could be provided. Again, you are the minister now, as well as Minister Gomes. You all decided to change the design, which I was vehemently against because of the timeline, but we're here now. How can we move forward? Maybe is it an option to use the old building permit to just continue and get off the ground? Because I heard the minister mention they're still waiting on architectural changes. So that means the permit hasn't even been submitted as yet. Madam Chair, through you, my other clarification, I just want to be very, very clear. I love the idea of Soul Beach. I love the manner in which the minister is always thinking on different ways and means to generate funds. So I'm no way, no shape, form, or fashion against Soul Beach. I went to Soul Beach, actually, and I had a good time by the Charlie Wilson show. So there's nothing against the Soul Beach. I do, however, have an issue, a fundamental issue in the way the process was handled in terms of the finances and not being budgeted, and every continuous law being broken after that. And to be honest, Madam Chair, I think I would have never found myself here defending the Minister of TIAT, but I do have an issue with the fact that, in my opinion, her colleague is throwing her under the bus continuously. The reason why I say that is because I was a minister, and Minister Arian came and answered questions for me all the time. I asked a financial question yesterday about Soul Beach. I was told, I ain't answering nothing about Soul Beach. They skip at least 15 questions that MP Arian asked, because the Minister of TIAT have to come. Now the Minister of TIAT is here. No response was given. I find that quite unfortunate, because indeed, as MP Otley mentioned, if you're part of the team, you're part of the team. And that's not happening right now. Nevertheless, Madam Chair, I would also like to request the NDA that was mentioned in the previous meetings. Hence the reason we couldn't have a Soul Beach meeting, because it was a particular NDA that certain information couldn't be divulged. Soul Beach has come and Soul Beach is gone. Can that be provided, please? I also took note of the fact that the SED is going to do the entire economic picture. I would like to know if there's a particular timeline to that based on their workload, based on all the different laws that they have to evaluate, and in what lineup is that based on their workload? How long will it take? Madam Chair, with regards to the local business, that in my opinion, I'm going to use the word extort, exploit, however you want to put it. I have an issue with the fact that government funds, public funds, went into subsidizing an entity, a foreign entity, yet the same entity is going to exploit local companies. If the idea is to generate funds for local companies and boost the economy, which I believe, based on what the minister has mentioned over and over, is the idea behind all of this, then I do have an issue with the fact that they are even trying to exploit others. And the minister mentioned, yes, it's a private company. They are allowed to do business with who they want. Yes, indeed. But the private company is here on the government's invitation based on the government's bill. So how is it then that they can go to the French side and the French side hasn't even contributed? So if my question wasn't clear, I would like to just emphasize that this is the clarity that I seek in that regard. And Madam Chair, to close, in the beginning of this whole Soul Beach saga, we made our concerns clear. It was not being properly promoted, in our opinion. We see the results based on the turnout. And I like to go to a quote. If you get on a wrong train, be sure to get off at the first stop. because the longer you stay on the train, the more expensive the trip becomes. And here we are now dealing with the expense of this trip. I look forward to get the numbers based on the profits. Thank you.
Thank you, MP Doran. That, Minister, seems to be the additional questions or comments that members had with respect to your answers. But before I do that, I give the floor to MP Myers. MP Myers, you have the floor.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I was sleeping at the switch there. I just have one question. I want to know what did the Soul Beach organizers pay to the government of Aruba while they were there, and how long did the Soul Beach festival event happen in Aruba? So how many years they were in Aruba, and how much did they pay to be in the beautiful island of Aruba?
Thank you, MP Myers. Thank you, MP Myers. Our technician is dealing with what is on the screen right now, the camera at least. And I was saying, Minister, these are the additional questions and queries from members of Parliament. Is there any need? Okay, let me allow you to respond. Let me allow you to respond, Minister of TIAT.
Yes.
And give your comments. Minister, you have the floor.
Thank you, Madam Chair Lady. Just a clarification through you to MP Arian. Is the questions that was posed, can the MP maybe send them directly to me? I don't mind responding to them as well. And I know we're going to be taking a break soon. I'm not sure.
Yes.
So I think I will be able to respond right after the break.
Okay. So, Minister, thank you. These questions, MP Aaron, your questions were forwarded to the Secretariat as well already, or that hasn't happened yet? Okay, you'll have that confirmed whether they were done, because, Minister, all questions were supposed or are supposed, they'll still come to all members of the COM so that they can also be coordinated. But you have not received those yet, but members of Parliament, remember the request from our Secretariat that the questions can also be submitted in writing to the Secretariat in order to facilitate, one, the compiling of the report of the Central Committee as well as government's answer, which needs to be in the entire part of the entire reporting. So, but in any case, members of Parliament, we are now going to adjourn until 7 p.m. There are several ministers, in addition to the Minister of TIAT, who are ready to come back and give their final comments and answers. But you will hear of that particular lineup at 7 p.m. Meeting adjourned until 7 p.m.